Hi guys, welcome in if you are a first time viewer. Welcome back if you are a returning viewer. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your subscribes, and to those of you who have booked a personal reading with me, please keep in mind that these are general messages, so do not take them personally. Take the messages that resonate and leave the rest behind. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can find that information in the description box below. So let's get into this message. What message do you have for the collective at this time? Help me to articulate a clear and concise message in order for it to be received in the way that you want it to best be received. Help me to see what it is I need to see to get the message across as clear as possible. And help me to deliver any messages that you deem worthy in order to serve your highest good, for the highest good of humanity with harm to none. What messages do you have for the collective at this time? What messages do you have for the collective at this time? So there's some sort of transformation that you're experiencing. This energy was kind of, this energy came out in the last reading. So if you have not seen the last reading, feel free to check it out. There might be a message in there for you. But there is a sense of community or a sense of new connections or new unions that you are getting ready to come into, right? Whatever it is that you consider abundance, whatever you feel, because abundance comes in many different forms, right? It's many different forms of currency. But that's the point, right? Things are getting ready to expand for you in more ways than one. Right, within like your relationships, your connections, your opportunities, your resources, right? Things are just getting ready to expand in a very healthy way for you, right? Trust underneath. Because this is something that you have been, I'm almost getting a sense of like blind faith, where you have been feeding something consistently, right? Not necessarily knowing what was going to come of it. Maybe not necessarily having many expectations of what may come from this. But whatever this transformation that is coming in for you is something that has also transformed you in a sense, right? This may have helped you to kind of maybe expand your perspective, maybe expand the way that you engage or indulge with things, people, situations, places around you, right? This may have changed the way that you talk to yourself, right? Which also, in a sense, may have changed the way you talk to other people, right? This may change the way that you eat, right? Which may also change your relationship with food in general, right? However this is going to resonate for you, it's going to be different for each of you. This is a general message. But there's something that is growing, right? Because this transformation that you have taken has almost given you a sense of knowledge that has helped to elevate you in a sense, right? It has helped you to kind of I'm seeing like green pastures, right? Where there's just like nothing but green, right? So whatever this is very healthy. It provides a lot of space, right? It's almost like a blank canvas for you, where you will have the space to create new because you have created new within yourself, right? So let's get some clarifiers. Oops, sorry guys, 1 second. This deck is so large. Some of my decks are so big that it's so hard to shuffle them sometimes. Clarified death. This does feel like a brand new start for you. Almost like it, almost as if like when this comes in, you may not feel prepared for the amount of growth and expansion that is going to come at you at one time. But the truth is, the transformation was you spending time preparing for this, right? So when this comes in, don't be, try not to be overwhelmed or try not to be discouraged about the growth that you're experiencing, right? Because it may feel a little bit jarring, just because it's such a big change, right? This does feel like a shift, right? It doesn't feel like, although you have been taking steps gradually, right? Because again, the gradual steps that you have been taking is the preparation, but it's almost going to be like a light switch, right? You're going to wake up one day and your life is just going to change in an instant because you've been preparing. So you may feel a little urge to self-sabotage, or you may feel a little bit of sense of self-doubt, as if you are not ready to take this step forward because the change is coming in so fast. But the truth is, you have been spending this time, the small changes that you have been making over time was the preparation that you needed in order to take this next step, right? Clarified death. Look. That is hilarious to me. Right. So the death came out in reverse. So again, don't resist this transformation, right? Because it may feel a little bit overwhelming for you to, like King of Cups. It's like emotionally, you might feel a strong sense of overwhelm, or you might just feel like, how can I put this into words? It's basically just saying to don't put yourself in a place of stagnancy because you fear the next step, right? You've already prepared for this change that's coming in. Clarify this death card. Clarify the death card in reverse. The Seven of Wands. Right. Give me one more. The Two of Cups. Ooh, the Eight of Pentacles. Right. So this is exactly what you've worked for. This change, this transformation that's coming in is everything that you have been preparing for, right? And this is something that you have already put yourself in union with. So for you to kind of resist this, or for you to indulge in those negative thoughts or that sense of self-doubt, would just be doing yourself an injustice, because you have already put yourself in union with what it is that you have asked for. So when it comes in, do not resist the change. You have put in the effort. This is almost like you have had to kind of fight alone, right? You have had to put in a lot of effort on your own. This may be against the opinions of other people. This may have been against the perceptions of other people. This may have been turning down opportunities that didn't necessarily fit with where it is that you are desiring to go. But because you were walking in blind faith, you were following your intuition because you knew that you were headed to somewhere that was going to lead you to greener pastures, right? It was going to lead you to your path of abundance, right? You put in a lot of work. You put in a lot of effort. You took on a lot of responsibility within yourself, within maybe the opportunities that you were engaging in or indulging in, or within certain passions or certain desires that you were creating, right? You took on a lot of responsibility in general to achieve this blessing, to achieve this manifestation. So why would you drop it when it's placed in your hands just because you feel as if it's coming in too quickly, right? When this is everything that you have prepared for up until this point, right? Don't let your emotions get the best of you. You've put in a lot of hard work, and it would be foolish for you to kind of undo everything that you have worked so hard to create, right? Clarify loneliness. The Three of Wands. This is your vision. This is you standing in preparation, waiting for your ships to come in with everything is fine, right? So again, with the world, even though okay, let me put this into perspective. This is the frequency of you kind of having to let go of many different things, right? You may have felt as if, I don't want to say a sense of betrayal, but you may have had conflicting thoughts. You may have had elements or times where you felt as if maybe you were going in the wrong direction, right? You may have felt as if maybe your efforts were not, again, this is like past energy, right? This is like you on the journey, right? On the journey within this transformation. During this time of transformation, it's almost as if you, how can I explain this? It's almost as if you had to let go of many different things, many different perspectives, many different thought processes, ways of thinking, right? Habits, addictions, right? Past traumas, past experiences. You may have had to leave a lot of things in the past. And as a result of this, you may have kind of experienced a sense of loneliness because you were detaching yourself from everything that kind of made you feel like you, right? You had to detach yourself from a part of who you were, right? You had to let go of things that used to fit the mold of who you are. But moving forward, those elements of yourself, those ways of thinking, those past traumas, those negative mindsets, right? Those were not going to benefit you in the place in which you were going, right? So you kind of had to use your strength and use your courage to trust the fact that all of your efforts would not be made in vain, right? You kind of had to just trust the fact that releasing yourself from certain things, from certain places, from certain people's environments, right? Releasing yourself from those things that no longer fit where you were going was for the benefit of your good, and not just to cause a sense of self-destruction in a sense. I hope that makes sense, right? You had to let go of the old you in order to make room for the new you, right? The open landscape in which you would be receiving so that you have more space to create, right? You couldn't create in a space that was already taken up, right? If your identity was if your identity was still tied to the things in your past, you would not have the space to create the things of your future, right? And so you may have kind of went through this period of, again, loneliness. You may have kind of went through this period of kind of reclaiming your identity or recreating your sense of self. And in order to receive the desires in which you were trying to achieve, right? Clarified growth. You have the Queen of Cups. And this one fell off the floor, so I'm going to do another one. And the High Priestess, right? Walking by faith. Nurturing something based on your intuition, right? Nurturing something. Look, and Strength is back at the bottom of the deck. It was underneath the World card a second ago. But you were walking by faith, right? You were kind of trusting your intuition that every step that you were making, every change that you were making, every effort that you were putting into, all of the nurturing, all of the care, all of the attention, all of the effort was a healthy investment towards what it is that you're desiring to create, right? To help you to reach this place in which you're trying to achieve, right? Again, walking with blind faith, right? Knowing that abundance is on the other side, but also trusting that this season of what may have felt like a season of lack because you were doing a lot of pruning, you were doing a lot of releasing, a lot of extractions, that season may have felt like a space of lack just because you were doing so much taking away, so much releasing, right? In trusting in yourself, God, the universe, source, right? However you refer. Trusting that those efforts would lead you to this new, look, trust at the bottom. I forgot that was there. Trusting that it would lead you to this space of abundance, this space of wealth, right? The space of green pasture where you have a whole blank canvas in a healthy blank canvas, right? This is not something that you will have to nurse back to health. This is something that is already fruitful. This is something that has already been prepared for the benefit of your growth, right? You won't have to put much effort into what is coming in because you have already done it on the forefront, right? Through trusting in your faith, through following your intuition, through trusting in your effort that the attention you were putting in would be enough to create a healthy landscape, to create a healthy you, right? That would help to carry you in this new season in which you're moving forward. All right, so let's pull 4 cards to close this message out. Let's see, what do we want to use? Let's use these. Let's pull 4 cards. 1 card for what we can learn as the major lessons surrounding this message. 1 card for the opportunities we can create surrounding this message. 1 card for what we can meditate on as the focus of this message. And 1 card for what we can continue to contribute to. 1 card for what we can contribute to our growth and expansion surrounding this message. Fearless love, Oshun. We love Oshun, right? She brings fruitfulness, right? She brings beauty. She brings peace. She brings overflow. She is abundant. She is wealth. She is fearless, right? She is unconditional love, right? And she brings that element of shine, of purity, of clarity, right? So that was the lesson that you had to learn during this season. Right, you had to learn how to create beauty, but that also requires facing the things that aren't so attractive, right? That means removing the things that aren't so attractive, right? Transforming those things so that they become attractive, right? It's almost like creating that magnetic energy, right? Not attractiveness physically, but attractiveness spiritually, to where you are able to call things in, to call in the things that create more health, create more wealth, create more beauty, create more clarity, right? Create more abundance, create more sustenance, more security, more protection, right? All the things, right? One card for the opportunities you can create surrounding this message. Radical rebirth, transformation, right? With etheric cords, right? So again, creating a change within your bloodline, creating a change within your legacy, right? This is creating a change within your sense of self, right? Your self-confidence, your self-worth, your self-value, right? Changing how you not only view yourself, but how you view the world around you, how you view your family, how you view the things that come from you, how you view the relationships that you connect yourself to and that you bond yourself to in union, right? Creating change within how you come into union with extra resources, extra opportunities, extra relationships in general, right? What are you bonding to? What are you connecting to? Right? Those are the opportunities you create. You're creating more space for health within the things that you come into union with. One card for what we can meditate on as the focus of this message. Speak up. Enjoy. Right? So this is that Seven of Wands energy. Just because it may not be a perception that everybody else has, that doesn't mean that it's not that it won't be fruitful. That doesn't mean that it's not something that you should stand up for, right? That doesn't mean that it's not something that will bring you joy and that's not something that is fulfilling to you, right? Excuse me. Just because other people may not have the ability to see the beauty that you do or to see and have the same vision that you do, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't follow that vision. Right? That doesn't mean that you shouldn't, because I'm seeing 3-3 here, right? Which is the Holy Trinity, mind, body, soul. So again, like meditating on remaining in union with self, right? Within the things that bring you fulfillment, within the things that make you feel healthy, make you feel happy, make you feel peaceful, make you feel protected, right? Within the things that make you feel a sense of peace, right? Things that bring you abundance, things that contribute to your wealth, right? Even if you're the only one fighting for this, right? Because it's not about the vision that other people see for you. It's about the vision that was placed upon you, right? The vision that God has placed in your vision, right? In your line of perception for you to follow, right? The journey that God has placed you on, the path that God has placed you on to follow, right? To create, right? And one more card for the new cycles and habits we can innovate to contribute to our growth and expansion surrounding this message. This one came out, so I'm going to take that one. And oh, look, pleasure and worthiness. It was worthiness that came out. And 11. I've been seeing a lot of 11. And worthiness, right. So exactly what I was just saying. Continue to indulge in your sense of self-worth. Continue to feed your sense of self-value. Continue to feed the things that bring you pleasure, that bring you joy. Continue to invest in the things that create the sense of abundance that you desire, right? Continue to invest in the things that increase your sense of self-worth, that increase your knowledge, that increase your wealth, that increase your levels of protection, right? That increase your levels of guidance, right? That increase your senses in a way that strengthens them, right? But that is the message that I have for you guys. I hope that it resonates. I know that if you made it to the end of this video, you have found something in it that is worthy and valuable to you. Please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. Bye.